Greetings all, welcome to another session here of Tuesday Talks. Today we're going to be talking about the Moodle Course Content Management System. It is a system designed to allow you as a teacher to manage grades, attendance, activities, homework uploads and downloads, and all those different kinds of things. Now, Course Content Management System is also called a Learning Management System. And today we're going to focus on one of the more popular systems called Moodle. We'll look at the overall environment of the Moodle package. We'll also talk a little bit about how it all began, and then we'll talk about more of the structure of the course schedule and the different activities and things that you can do as a teacher and possibly an administrator. Let me begin by just talking a little bit about the Moodle software. You can download it for free if you go to moodle.org. It's freely available here, and the system is free. You can download it. As I said, you can install it on your server, and you can run it as if you were, a big company. You could also have it run for your school or your organization. As I said, that it's open source. It began when there was a gentleman who decided to create a project for his research. Martin Dugimas, I really don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he developed the initial parts of Moodle and put it out there in the open, in the wild, on the internet for anybody to use, and people began to use and grow, and it became more and more popular. So we're very thankful for Martin for the work that he's been doing with that, and it's continued to grow. Moodle is now one of the largest and most popular systems that are available out there. There are, of course, proprietary systems, but when you go and look at organizations that are checking out the history, or not the history, but the best systems that are out there, you'll see that Moodle is oftentimes first or second as you look through. I'm just going through a variety of places. That one was e-learning industry. This is LearnDash. You'll see number one again is Moodle. So it's one of the most popular systems out there. You got systems like Blackboard, yes, but you also have Moodle that's sitting up there way at the top almost all the time. This is stuff that I've pulled off since early this year. This is 2014. And you'll see Moodle is always up there. It is one of the contenders, and it doesn't cost anything to purchase and use. You do obviously need people within your organization that know about the system and know how to use it. Point being, Moodle is a very popular, a very robust learning management system that is now available to anyone if they want to be able to put it up on their system. What do you need to do this? Well, you can download the software. That's all you need to do. You can install it on your own computers. You install it on the software. Your system needs an operating system. You need a web server, and there are a number of free web servers also available. You need a database server. You can install that as well for free. There are free versions of database servers that you can get to. And then you install Moodle. And after you install Moodle into the web server, it'll go through a whole bunch of permutations and questions and environment setting things, and you can set up the themes, you can set up modules, and you can set up special settings within the system for mail and the like. Okay. Now, most teachers look at this stuff right here and they say, no thank you. I don't want to spend the time to try and set up all of this. And I agree with you. As someone who's got a foot in the world of education, most teachers are not interested in learning about all this stuff. They only want to be able to use the system. And so that's all we're going to be focusing on. But I wanted to let you know, if you had, the desire to want to try it out yourself, you could actually do that. The overall environment for Moodle, you have a front page that you can set up, and you can set it up any way that you want. They have preset a variety of things that you can do. You can set up it so where you have an announcement, and you might have a list of courses. You can have a login page, a news section for the front page. All of that you can modify. And if you're interested in digging into the code, you can add more things to it if you are so inclined. So that's the main thing that you wanted to, if you just wanted to install a system. But for most of us, we're not going to want to do that. We just want to know how to use the system. Now, the system has a particular layout, and there are administrative settings, and there are things that you can turn on and off. And let's go look at some of that right now with a standard page that I have set up. This is a sample course. I could take you to the front page if I wanted to, but I want to just show you this is the sample course. A typical course is going to look like this. You've got a breadcrumb component right here where you can walk down to your specific course. Things become more specific as you go down in this direction. That's called a breadcrumb. You've got navigation. If you're going to be have any blocks in here, we don't have any blocks set up in here. In our schedule, this is our schedule, the main central block, and it concludes just all the weeks that you're going to be doing things. You don't have to set it up in weeks. You could set it up in another format. That this is primarily the one that you need. You've got an administration panel. You've got a profile panel. You've got site administration if you have site administration capabilities. For most teachers, you're going to be using the administration panel for the course, and you'll use administrations for every component that you add into the course. On this right side here, they've got something called blocks, and these little blocks here you can add as you go along, or you can pull them out. Okay, and all this is done primarily through the turn on editing. You've got two places where you can turn on editing. Okay, you've got a little link here under the administration panel, and you have the button listed over here. Both of them do the same thing. So you as a teacher, you're going to get your new class, and it's going to look like this. It's going to be just this blank thing. You now need to dress it, and you need to make it look the way you want it to, and you also want to add the materials into the course that you want. So the first thing let's do is go into the edit settings. Okay. This is what I would call a vanilla shell of a course. It's just space for you with your basic components, and you need to specialize it. You need to give it all the things that you want it to. Now, to modify the shell, okay, we go into edit settings. Okay, we're going to go into edit settings here, and within the edit settings, you're modifying the shell type components. You're going to modify the name of the course and where it's located. You're going to modify a description of the course if you want. You can modify the course format. Notice this one is weekly. You can have it set to something else if you want. You can modify the appearance. Okay, there are themes that you can install here, and there are a variety of themes that I already have. You can set a specific language. You can set the number and size of files. You can modify guest access. Am I going to allow guests in, or aren't I? And if I'm going to allow a guest in, are they going to have a password? Okay, all different things that you can do. You can set up groups. You can set up role renaming. If you don't want to be called teacher or instructor, you could be called participant or facilitator. You can change all those names there. Okay, so this is basically just modifying the shell. Okay, you're not modifying the content in the course, other than the number of weeks, the number of sections that you're going to have. This is currently set up for 10 weeks. And you may want 11 weeks or 15 weeks or 5 weeks. So that's probably the only other thing. But that's mainly just modifying the shell, the outside appearance of things. Okay, let's go back to the course. Okay, so if we were to modify anything, we could do that. Now, this right now has the week, or this course in 3 columns. You may not like 3 columns. You may only want 2 columns. You may also want to hide things or put them on the side, as I would say. You can do that by clicking on this little button here, which docks it to the left side here. So now that's sitting under navigation. Just put my mouse over there, and it'll pop up. And I can navigate just like I normally would. I can do the same thing with administration. I can just click it over there, and now it's sitting over here. By doing that, you'll notice that my week column has become wider. Okay, so I can modify it that way. But let's just look at appearance. Now let's just undock this now. Put this back. Oops. Put this back into my weeks here. And let's turn on the editing button. Remember I said there are 2 options that you have. Let's turn on editing and see what happens. After you turn on editing, there are a whole bunch of buttons that are appearing right here. And they're going to appear for every component that you add to the list. Okay? And all of these, you're going to want to remember what they are, because they're going to be the ones to help you move along. Okay, so the first one there is just to edit the title. So this one says News Forum. I can click here, and then I can edit this title. And whatever I enter, it'll just become that, okay? The nice thing about the newer versions of Moodle is that so much of it is drag and drop and JavaScript enabled. So I can quickly change things, quickly delete things without having to refresh the page over and over again. So I have edit the title, I have move right, move left, I have move up and down, I have, what's this one, update, I have copy, right? This one's copy or duplicate. I have delete. I have hide. I have hide. I have groups, and I can make more groups, okay? All of these I'm going to have on anything that I add, and you'll notice here that I can now add resources and I can add activities, depending on how you want to set up the system. I can hide a week. You notice the little plus there. I can grab this and move this week down or move this week up. I can do the same thing here. I can hide this particular week if I don't want it. So all those things are possible. And now we see all these here. They're all set up and getting ready for some type of content to be added. Okay? So I can add resources. Click on resources, and these are all the resources that I can add. I can add a book. I can add a file. I can add a folder. I can add a label, I can add a page, I can add a tab display, I can add a link to something else. So let's just say, for example, I want to add a label, and a label is just a little thing that says, you know, this is what I am. And below that, you can have more information. So you got like homework, and then below it, you can write down, okay, this is the homework that I'm going to have. So for example, let's just go to this first week, and let's add a label. And we'll call the label, we do this, we get a label window that opens up here. Now, you'll notice it's just a box, and I can put in the word homework, for example. Okay? But I can also show the editing tools. And if I show the editing tools, click on that, it's going to open up and be a standard word processing browser. Grab this little corner down here and drag it out, and I can now, it's like a regular word processor. I can then highlight this and bold it. I can make it larger. I can increase the font size if I want. I can center it. Let's see here. I want this to be a little bigger, for example, so I'm going to make this even bigger. Let's make it 26 point. Okay, and let's put this back here, and that's all I want to do. Okay, but you see all the things that I can do with it. I can bold, italic, I can strike through, I can put in lists and bulleted lists, and I can indent, I can go look at the HTML code. There's a lot that I can do with this particular window. Okay, when I'm done, I'm just going to, and I can decide, do I want to show it or hide it? I can obviously do that later when I get there. So, save and can return to course. Okay, so now I've got this thing called homework here, and look, I've got all the little buttons there that I've had before. And I can move it if I want, and just grab this and drag it down here, and now it's moved, right? Grab it and drag it back up there, and now it's moved again. Moved back up where it belongs. There we go. Okay, so I can do all this drag and drop stuff. It's very nice, the stuff that I can do with that. All of these are going to be similar. I can add a file, and if I have a file on the system, I can use it. If I don't have a file on the system, I can upload it. I can create a web page. I can create a tabbed display, which is going to allow me to have much of material in 3 or 4 different tabs if I so desire. So those are those different types of activities. What other ones did I want to talk about? I talked about move and edit and delete and hide and groups. These are your resources that I basically talked about. Now let's go look at the activities, some of the activities that we can look at. For activities, there are a bunch of things that we can do. I'm not going to go through all of them today. I just wanted to give you an overview. But I can have somebody upload a paper, upload a single file as an assignment. I can have them write online. Your assignment is to write something online, and they can do that. I can have them do an offline activity. What that means is basically I can have the students do something in class that doesn't require technology, and when they're done, I give them credit for it. Like they're supposed to bring in a can of soup because we're doing a soup drive or something like that for a local charity. They bring that in, they get 5 points. Well, I can just give them 5 points because they brought in a can of soup. It's an offline activity. I can set up attendance here and do attendance. I can open up a chat, so we can have a little chat program running. I can use an external tool. Obviously, it's a a media type of a tool that I can use. I can set up flashcards. So if I have a database of questions or a database of vocabulary or whatever, I can create flashcards with those. I can make flashcards for one course. I can make flashcards that'll work in multiple courses. I can have students make flashcards. There's a variety of things that I can do with that. I can create a forum or a discussion board, and I can make the discussion board for only a group of students or for everybody, and connect them to a discussion board. I can have games, hangman or crossword puzzles, or all these that are here. All of these work with questions and or flashcards that you have in your system. So you can't play hangman if you don't have a flashcard of words or questions in your question bank that you can use here. All of them need to work together. I can create a glossary. I can use hot potatoes activities. We'll talk a little bit more about hot potatoes later on, but I can import those hot potatoes activities into the class. I can create a lesson, which is really a long series of activities that are strung together and can be used for progression. So if the student gets A done and they want to go to B, or maybe they get B done and you give them two choices to go to C or D, and a variety of things that you can do with that. You can do a questionnaire, you can do a quiz or a test. You can create a SCORM, you can use a SCORM package. And I'm going to talk about SCORM, but again, it's a special type of educational package that if you have it, you can implant it here and use it. You can create a survey, you can do a Turnitin assignment, you can do a workshop, or you can use a wiki. Those are all the activities that I currently have in my system. You can, of course, go to Moodle and download more activities. You can download not only standard packages, but you can download plugins. And there are lots and lots of plugins. Hundreds and hundreds, for example. There are plugins for different activities, assignments, for blocks that we'll talk about later. You can download more themes. You can download reports. You can download a different type of editor. Lots of different things that you can download, install into your Moodle package, and then use it again. Use it for a different thing. Okay? So I'm only showing you the ones that I've downloaded and the ones that I've installed on my system. But there are many that you can add and install. Okay? Let's take a quicker look over here at the administrative panel here. Very quickly, we've got turn off editing and turn on editing. That's these buttons here, right? So let's just tune that off. Edit settings. We can modify users, see who our users are, add more users, edit more users. I can filter out certain components. I can go to reports and look at the reports that are available, who's doing what, how many are appearing here, how many are actually spending time. I can look at grades. I can do badges. Badges is a relatively new concept. It's where someone completes a particular project or activity, they get a badge, and they can get a series of badges, and you can print them out. And it's a way of saying, good job, you finished this particular component. Think of the Boy Scouts when they get all the badges on their thing because they completed a thing. That's what these are. They're badges that you can have. And, you know, I would think, yeah, you know, this is just for little kids, but adults even, you know, they get all these badges and they get a sense of accomplishment by having badges. You can back up a course, you can restore a course, you can import a course, you can publish a course to make it available on a wider range than just in your course. You can reset a course. Basically, resetting a course means, you know, I just taught this course last year and I want to use all the stuff again, but I want to get rid of the students that I have and I want to get rid of all their information. Okay? So you back up a course, you got a copy of it backed up, and then you can reset it. And now all the information you have, all the activities and resources that you have sitting there are all going to be there, but there's no responses. It's a quick way to reset the course for the next group of students. You have a question bank. And essentially you have a bank of questions that you can use in any of the tests in this particular course or in this particular group of courses, because you can share questions among different courses. You also have a repository. You can create repositories for all of your materials. Let's just say you're teaching biology, and you've got a set of PowerPoints that you have, and you want to use them over and over again. Or you've got a set of a workbook full of activities that are in digital form. You can upload that there and pull those activities out anytime that you need them because they're sitting in the repository. Legacy course files we're not going to go to. Note also that if you are a teacher, you can switch roles and look at your course as if you were a student. So now you can change your role and see what the course looks like as if you were that person. And then you can go back to your original setting. You can also, if you have students in your class, become that student so you can see what they would look like, how they would see their courses if you were them. That's a possible benefit if, for example, you want to show you want to show Mary her grades, but you don't want anybody else to see, so you become Mary, and then you call Mary over, and you can see her pages. If she were to see it, you can see her grades. So you can also modify your profile. You can go in and edit your profile, change your password, change your username. You'll note that my username is sitting up here, right? And I can change that. I can change it to a different name if I wanted to. I can look at the messaging or the roles or the badges. I can look at all those different things. And if you're an administrator of a site, you can go in and administer the entire site. This is just one course that we're looking at, but there are a lot of other things that you can do if you're an administrator. One more thing I forgot to show you, and that's blocks. Let me open this up again and show you what the blocks are. Here are blocks right here. Here's a recent activity block, and here's an upcoming events block, and here's a latest news block, search forums block, all these different kinds of blocks. Well, if you don't like these blocks, you can get rid of them. Bing. Okay, say goodbye to that block. I'm getting rid of the search forums blocks because I don't want it. Now it's gone. Now, what if I want it back? Well, I just come down here. I turn editing on, right? I turn my editing on. And I can come down here to blocks, and we can look at the available blocks. And these are all these different blocks that I can just add. It's extra information or extra functionality that I want to be able to do in my class. So I can have, my private files or where is it? Search forums. There it is, right? I can add a Wikipedia block where people can go look up stuff on Wikipedia. I can do quick mail where I can allow a little mailing program to allow students to mail each other or you to mail all your students in the class. Latest badges. All these are available as blocks. And again, these are only the ones that are available on my system, on the system that you're looking at here. You can go to Moodle, go to their site again, and find blocks. Right, there's 216 blocks here. I certainly don't have all of them. Go look at the blocks, see the ones that you want, and then you can add them here. So that's what blocks are. And that's the basic environment that you're going to see. You're going to be able to come here. You're going to set up what you're going to do. You may have a beginning here. This first block, you'll note there's no address. There's no dates here. This first block is for generic information. So you might put a syllabus there or a welcome message. You might have a photo of yourself and maybe a video of a welcome to the class and what you're going to learn in this class type of thing. So you might be able to do that there in the beginning. And then you'll modify the course. This week you're going to be doing what and what types of activities. And you may have another one of these. Let me duplicate this real quick. You may have another one and we'll duplicate it. You sure you want to duplicate it? Yes, we're going to duplicate it. Well, now I'm going to edit it. I'm going to edit the copy. And I don't want it to say homework. I want it to say in class. And that's good enough for that, and we'll save that. So you're going to modify what you're going to be doing. So let's just move this up here. Oops, there. So now for in class, I'm going to have a whole bunch of in-class activities. And I'm going to have to go in and I'm going to have to add activities, assignments, or whatever for in class. And I'm going to have under homework, I'll have the things that we want to do in homework. And that's how you're going to be setting up the course as you go along. I do believe those are all the main things that I wanted to talk about. Just to recap, we looked at the overall environment, we looked at the settings, some of them, we looked at some of the major options, we looked at the schedule, we talked a little bit about the history of Moodle. So that's all that I wanted to cover for today. Know that you're going to be jumping into this very soon, and I want you to be able to build a course for your students. And so you need to be having that in mind as we go forward and build the course. If you do have any questions, you can certainly leave a message down below or shoot me an email. If not, you guys have a good time, and I'll talk to you later.